Hey VC, it's Jim. Today we're going to make an attempt to do the charmingly whimsical vinyl tag from Static Traveler. I'm not sure how charming or whimsical I'll be able to get in this, but I will give it a shot. So we're going to go through the questions one by one and show a record. So number one is show a record with something related to dreams. And this one came to mind immediately, which is Dolly's car. The cover painting is Maxfield Parrish's Awakening. And Dolly's car was a brief project of Peter Murphy from Bauhaus and Mick Karn from Japan. This was 1984, I believe. And it was just after both of their bands split up. And they kind of started doing this thing. And it's a pretty interesting record. The name comes from, I believe, the last track on Trout Mask Replica. From Captain Beefheart, even though they spell it slightly differently. It's an interesting record, though. Number two, show a record with sweets, cakes, desserts, or desserts on the cover. So I've got Black Candy from Beat Happening. This is, 1989. On K Records. Of course, it's on black vinyl. What else would it be on? Great record from Beat Happening. Number three. Show a fantastical item of transport. Spaceships, trains, submarines, etc. Well, I went with Tarna on her weird fantasy bird on the cover of the heavy metal soundtrack from 1982. That's a Chris Achilleos painting. He's a really talented fantasy science fiction artist. Back cover by Richard Corbin. Let's see. Then show a record with a fantasy world cover. I didn't think I could do better than this one, which is The Hobbit by Tolkien, and the painting itself is actually a Tolkien painting. This is Bilbo coming out of the river from Mirkwood. This is the Nicole Williamson recording from the early 70s. I think it's like 73 or something like that. I didn't check that beforehand. But it's really a great recording of the book. And I listen to this on occasion. It's really fun. Let's see. Show a record to do with outer space. Yeah. 2001, A Space Odyssey, the soundtrack to the film, Stanley Kubrick film. Cool gatefold cover, although it's not a wraparound. It would have been better if it was a wraparound, but it's not. But great film, great soundtrack. Show a TV show record, preferably a whimsical fantasy program. Did not have anything that really ticked those boxes. But I did have Sex Education from Ezra Furman, which is a great soundtrack that everyone should know about. It's also a great show on Netflix you should check out. Okay. Show a record with a cartoon cover or a cartoon somewhere on it. I picked They Might Be Giants, Don't Let's Start. I think this is one of their first singles from their first record. Great record. They were truly amazing to see live back then. They probably still are amazing to see live, but they were great. Next, show a record related to childhood, books, play, etc. Okay, so I went with what you would first think of, which is Human Sexual Response, figure 14 from 1982. It's two kids poking Jell-O, for whatever that's worth. Next is show a record with angels, fairies, nymphs, creatures of folklore, etc. Experience Unlimited from 1979, I believe. This is the band that later transformed into EU, so the initials for Experience Unlimited. This is a great funk soul record from the late 70s. And finally, show a record whimsically related to death and or one with something grotesque on the cover. So this is one of my favorite records around Halloween time, which is Dead Man's Bones. And it's just a really fun kind of I don't know, how do you describe this? Yeah, it's just a great record that's kind of a little campy, a little sort of theatrical, but just really fun, and all sort of around the sort of spooky Halloween kind of theme-esque. And this was also a truly amazing group to see live, band to see live. Anyways, that's it. Thanks to Static Traveler for this one. This was kind of fun. And thank you for making it all the way through. Yeah, we'll see you